guys, how are you doing? And welcome to Dr. Bami's channel. Welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I will be discussing on how to check for conjunctival pallor, check for jaundice, and also the location and palpation of lymph nodes. Okay, so let's dive into the video for today. To check for conjunctival pallor, you bring out your index finger, right? And then you lower your lower lid, and then you ask the patient to look upwards. Always ensure that you do this for both eyes, okay? The right index finger and then the left index finger. So to check for jaundice, use your same index finger, you place it on the upper eyelid, you elevate it, and then you ask the patient to look downwards. Always ensure that you do this for both eyes, okay? And in medicine, you don't cross hands, okay? The right hand goes to the right part of the body, and then the left hand goes to the left part of the body. So now let's move on to the lymph nodes, okay? So I would categorize the lymph nodes according to the head and the neck, which is 1. Then 2 will be the axillary region and other regions, okay? Now, before we go directly into the lymph nodes, the types of the lymph nodes, I would show you how you get to palpate, because you need to inspect, you need to locate, and then you palpate the lymph nodes. So palpation of the lymph nodes is done with the pulp of the index finger and then the middle finger, okay? You use the pulp of these two fingers to palpate, and it's always a superficial palpation, okay? You gently rub your fingers, the pulp of your fingers, on the lymph nodes. Now remember, lymph nodes are not prominent in everyone, and that's why you have to palpate. So in the process of you palpating, you search for this lymph nodes, okay? So for some people, it might be completely absent, while in others it might be prominent. Okay, so let's begin. So under the head and neck, we would start with the submental lymph node. So you find the submental lymph node here at the submental region. Now remember, the submental lymph node, it's just a singular lymph node, while others are paired. Okay, so you gently palpate this region. So ideally, when you tell the patient, when you approach the patient, you tell the patient to gently elevate the head, and then you reach out for the submental region or any other part that you would palpate. So when you reach out to that region, then you tell the patient to gently depress the head. So when they do, the process of the patient depressing his or her head pushes your fingers into the region, and then you softly or gently palpate the lymph node, okay? So that's the submental lymph node. And from the submental lymph node, remember I said that is the only singular one, you move on to the submandibular. So the submandibular lymph node is somewhere around here, around the submandibular region. You do the same thing, you gently palpate, and after that you move on to pre-auricular. So the pre-auricular lymph node is just before the ear, okay? And always remember, it's for both sides. And then the postauricular will be behind the ears, okay? So you palpate that gently, and after that you move on to what we call the anterior cervical lymph node. So the anterior cervical lymph node is somewhere here. Always remember, it's for both sides, so you palpate. And then you move on to the posterior cervical lymph nodes. You move on to what we call the supraclavicular lymph nodes. So you gently palpate this part above the clavicles because it's for both sides. Now you move on to the axillary region. Remember that we started with 2 fingers. But while you approach the axillary region, it changes to 4 fingers. So your hand will be in this position because you will be palpating a larger surface area, okay, the axilla, that is your armpit. Okay, so you reach out this way. So the axillary region is divided into 5 parts. The first is the anterior part, posterior, lateral, the medial, finally the apical. Okay, so according to those 5 parts, you palpate each part for a lymph node. And we move on to other regions, which will be the supratrochlear lymph nodes, inguinal lymph nodes, and finally the popliteal lymph nodes. Okay, so guys, and don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. So till another time, guys, bye.